powered by Riverside.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome into a brand new episode of the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Codd, this week, and alongside of me, yes, that's right, I got a new fill-in co-host a little bit. Looking forward to it. The one, only Jake Belts. What's up, Jake? What's going on, man?
How you doing, Matt?
Oh, man, absolutely incredible to have you on the show this week. For all of our listeners on the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast, Jake is absolutely a tremendous asset to the show. His profession is a diesel mechanic, so really getting the mechanical side of things in NASCAR. As you hear my dumbass talk every single week, it's all about the analytics. So the real men actually have to do some work. So I'm looking forward to having Jake on the show with us periodically throughout 2025. Looking at the mechanical side of it, Jake, really happy to have you alongside. Introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, I appreciate you. I'm happy we finally were able to get this to happen, and I'm grateful for you to have reached out to and wanted me to be a part of this. This is awesome. I follow you. I'm a huge follower of this podcast. I love this podcast, so I'm happy to be a part of it. A little bit about myself. I'm a huge NASCAR fan. Like Matt said, I'm a diesel mechanic, working on trucks, cars, things that go fast is my life. So it's awesome to be a part of one of these things that all we talk about is cars going fast, and looking forward to the future and what we could do together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Super excited about that myself. Like you said, really happy because, like I said, I look at everything on a data standpoint. I'm an analytics guy. I love calculations. I love computers. I can sit there and calculate anything. I can't take a motor apart. So having you on this show, which we've seen a lot of blown engines this year in 2025.
We have
a lot of blown engines. So really looking forward to having those in-depth discussions. Also a great week to have you on, Jake. Big Kyle Larson fan. You're wearing the 5 hat. I'm wearing the 5 hat this week because this episode is all about the 5. And let's not get this episode confused. It's going to be Kyle Larson. If you're listening to us live on YouTube, as many opportunities to listen to us. If you're listening to us live on YouTube, yes, you can turn off now if you hate Kyle Larson. Just saying, because it's going to be obnoxious this week.
Making a bad choice by turning it off.
I agree, because I'm going to tell you right now, dude, this whole Kyle Larson discussion, personally to me, we might be coming into a perspective where is he going to become one of those drivers as, where does he rank in the GOAT category? We're going to be discussing that. I mean, the dude's 32 years old. He's got 31 career wins. Granted, 25 of them came with Hendrick Motorsports. And he continues dominating.
And he's only getting better every week. That car is only getting faster. He's only getting smarter. And the team that he's around, with Cliff Daniels up there speaking with it, it's a full – everybody's hands on board. And that car is just going to get better and better and better.
I totally agree with that. But, Jake, before we get started, let's get into some show announcements tonight. Real quick, before we get into the show announcements, let me pull up let's do this real quick. Again. So, tonight, a couple of show announcements before we get started. Folks, you've been hearing us talk now probably for 3 years. If you love what you're hearing, again, we do a live stream episode every single week, once a week. Feel free to join us on YouTube at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast YouTube page. That's the best way to look at us and watch us. If you miss us, and I've done a bad job on this myself, man. I have not posted the last couple weeks on Spotify, so I know we have a couple fans that have called me. I'm just saying.
I'm even one that says, "Hey, Matt, when's this week's predictions coming up on Facebook? I'm looking forward to hearing. I got to see this post."
Yeah, I've done a bad job at that. I've got real busy, and it's my stupidity. I actually hang out with a few people we know a couple weeks ago. Didn't get around to that.
Yeah.
But this week, it's a good week for us as well because we get the reset coming in the Easter weekend. But I know we got Rockingham this week, but it's a good weekend for us to reset. I get all the episodes up and loaded and kind of Jake, I really never got an opportunity, I guess, from last season until this season because I'm a diehard Eagles fan. They were in the Super Bowl the week before the 500. I never felt like I got a chance to get my feet off the ground. So
Yeah.
it's a good week to reset. All the episodes will be live on, they'll be on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. You love what you're hearing? Feel free, go to the subscriptions, follow us, like us. Again, YouTube is the best way to me to listen to us. We have a lot of fun with this. But this tonight's episode will be uploaded as well. Also, with that being said, if you are listening to us live on YouTube, yes, you have an opportunity to chat. Blown engine line chat wide open. Feel free to, if you're pissed off because Kyle Larson led 411 laps on Sunday and you want to bitch and complain about that, then that's fine. If you want to bitch about the aero wake, if you want to complain that Blaney's pit crew screwed him over again, I don't care what you want to do. Join us. Chat. Let us be the voice of reasoning on why your driver either sucks or is really good. Just saying. I think it's pretty fair, right?
Yep.
Cool. Finally, 2 shows on the road. Pocono, BWB Tailgate, back June 22nd. You were there last year, Jake. It was a blast. Even though it rained in the morning, it was really hot. But point is, come drink with us. Come have fun with us. Tailgate is on at Pocono, June 22nd. I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I'm probably going to try to go up to every single race that weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, I'm not doing a tailgate every night. I'm not doing that. I don't need to get that drunk. But, and then Dover, July 20th, we'll be down at the Monster Mile. That should be live on air as well. So, a couple things to look forward to. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yes, I'm looking forward to Pocono. I'll be there. Dover still trying to work the kinks out with that, with people who may want to go, may not want to go, but I'll definitely be there at Pocono with you. So that'll be a fun week. That'll be a really, really fun Sunday. It was awesome last year. So
yeah, I love Pocono because it's close. Obviously, we live in Quakertown. I mean,
it's our backyard.
Yeah, it's pretty much our backyard. I mean, why not get up there?
Yep.
So if you're going up there, come join us. We'd love to have you up there. So cool. All right, Jake, let's get some fast headliners in before we get into our Bristol discussion tonight. Fast headliners courtesy of jski.com, folks. Follow them on X, Facebook, or by web at www.jski.com. First headliner of the week, Nico Kick and Zone partner to sponsor Kyle Busch at Talladega Super Speedway. Pictures have been floating around about that one. I think 7-Eleven's kind of involved with that. NicoKick.com, the leading U.S. platform and preferred digital retail partner for Zone premium nicotine pouches. That's what NicoKick.com is. Update number 2, Catherine Legg. We saw her race at Phoenix. Didn't really do well. Live Fast Motorsports car. Can't really critique her that well or that much. But she has decided to run a few more events in 2025 in the NASCAR schedule. First one up is going to be this Saturday at Rockingham Speedway in the Xfinity Series. She'll be back again April 26th at Talladega Super Speedway in the Xfinity Series. She'll be at Texas Motor Speedway in the Xfinity Series on May 3rd, Charlotte Motor Speedway Xfinity Series race May 24th, and May 31st, the Xfinity Series race at Nashville Super Speedway. Then she will make her Cup return at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez road course down in Mexico City. For the NASCAR Cup Series, she'll be with Live Fast Motorsports, sponsored by Elf Cosmetics. So pretty cool. Get the women involved. Pretty excited about that one. Then she'll return back to the Xfinity Series June 27th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then she'll be back at the Chicago Street Course in the Cup Series July 6th. Sonoma in the Cup Series with Live Fast Motorsports on July 13th. And the last 3 events will be the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Xfinity Series on July 26th, August 10th at Watkins Glen International Speedway in the Cup Series, and finally she'll finish out her 2025 campaign in the Cup Series at Richmond August 17th with the Fast Motorsports. So, Catherine Legg fan, multiple opportunities to go see her at the track, whether it's Xfinity, whether it's Cup. I'm looking forward to it. I think she's a pretty good road racer. She's a really good road racer.
I like, and people will say this isn't a female sport. I like it. I mean, you go back to the Danica Patrick days, people had their feelings about her. She didn't have the greatest rap. Then you had like Haley Deegan try to get into Xfinity, didn't work out. Now she's flirting with an Indy car or an F1 car, whatever one it is. And then I think it's awesome. I think you get that female fan base kind of involved. Like, no, this is pretty cool, you know. I think it's awesome.
I agree. And she was, I know she did not have a good showing at Phoenix. That is a very difficult track to have your first debut, right? Like, I was like, you know what? I can't complain. I can't, she did what she needed to do. And to be honest with you, she took a lot of ownership. I mean, Suarez wrecked into her, and she's like, that was my fault. Totally my fault. You don't see a lot of drivers do that.
No.
So she's respectful for the sport. I like it. Like you said, Jake, we had Danica Patrick for a while. I mean, multiple female drivers that have come into the sport. Haley Deegan tried it most recently. I think it's exciting to see her kind of, be hopefully a stable piece in the NASCAR Cup Series in the near future. Update number 3. Telcel partners with Daniel Suarez for the inaugural race at Mexico City. Update number 4. Renani sponsoring Todd Gill in Atlanta. Renani becomes the preferred commercial water heater of Long John Silver's. Restaurants across the country. Renani commercial tankless water tanks will be placed in new restaurants while also replacing aged water heaters. So, when I first read this article, headliner, I was like, "What the hell why are we even?" But then I forget Bob Jenkins actually owns Long John or owns a few of them, so it makes sense to be on the car.
It does.
Update number 5. This one is really interesting. I was kind of telling you in the kind of like the pre-show discussion this evening. Clutch Sports Group will be serving as NASCAR's sales agency to find the Xfinity Series entitlement sponsor replacement. So this one's interesting because Clutch Sports is ran by Rich Paul, which is LeBron James's best friend, which LeBron has a backdoor agreement with basically RFK Racing because he's part owner of Fenway Entertainment Group. So it's interesting because I did not realize how involved Rich Paul was already. He partially owns UTA, which has been working quietly with NASCAR over the last several years on things like merchandise collaborations and bringing influencers to races. Clutch is getting into a higher gear now with the Xfinity Series sales role and has already been in the market in recent weeks to start speaking with brands interested in the asset. So we heard that the Xfinity is going to be leaving the title sponsorship. I don't know if they're going to be coming back, but now you're looking at it going, okay, now you have a marketing firm as high profile as that looking for a sponsorship. I'm pretty interested to see what the brand's going to be.
I mean, it's good to see brands like that interested in getting into the sport. I mean, people for years keep saying this is a dying sport, but you see these companies are like, I want to get involved in this, and I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see like Busch come back.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we grew up with.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of fans on this podcast. I think we all grew up with the NASCAR Busch Series, Grand National Busch Series, right? I would love for that to come back, but if we can't, I would love, like you said, Jake, I would love a high-profile sponsorship. I've always complained about the throwback weekend. My biggest pet peeve about the throwback weekend in NASCAR. I love the schemes. I think they're entertaining. Kyle Larson had a sensational scheme last week. Multiple drivers did too. The one thing I absolutely hate about throwback weekend, if the business is still around, I feel like NASCAR should require those teams to put the original business onto the car, right? Like Kellogg's, Kyle Larson, just using them as an example. And I feel like Clutch could be that asset, that bridge to get the network together. I mean, it is crazy to think, 5 years ago, Michael Jordan and LeBron James are both involved in NASCAR. I would have never thought that. I mean, now granted, LeBron is not as vocal. Michael is at the track every single week. So if you see high-profile celebrities, I mean, this is what it's coming down to.
So. It attracts people. It's to get people like that.
Sure.
To get people like that is amazing because the following that they have, it's just making the sport that much better. That's like NASCAR isn't dying. We're still here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's still people who care, who want to be involved, and big name people, and that we would never think, like you just said, we would never think that these type of people would be involved. It's amazing. I love it. It's great. It's amazing for the sport of NASCAR.
Yeah, and like I said, like you were saying, like you look at, and in the words of Tri-Oval Life, good friend of the show, NASCAR ain't dead. And I get it. Viewerships are down. I still don't understand how Indy got the whole Fox contract. I really don't. every race on Fox and they bumped NASCAR to FS1, but I'm happy to see more higher profile names involved in the sport because I want that in order to get back to where we were or to continue progressing forward, we need these high profile names. So um, update number 6 this week. Dale Jr. He is named to the Motorsports Hall of America, not of racing, not of fame, the Hall of Fame of America. So Dale Jr. will be in. He was announced in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. That's pretty cool.
It's awesome. Love it. Before Larson came into this, that was I grew up an Earnhardt fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. Listen to his podcast almost every week. I think that's awesome. I think it's a huge step for him.
I never understood too, like the hatred toward not hatred. I shouldn't say hatred. I don't think anyone hates Dale Earnhardt Jr.
How can you?
No, I exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people think that he's overrated, and I'm like, I feel like that guy has done more for the sport than anyone. Granted, doesn't have the championship, only 26 wins, but at the same time, he's a 2-time Daytona 500 champion.
I mean, look at him as an owner. Like I get it. Like he's not the guy driving the car, but look what he's done in Xfinity Series already. Just as an owner, and look what he just did for the Daytona 500. That's huge. Huge. Yeah. I mean, everybody will say, "Oh, he hasn't had the championship." People say, "Oh, like you just said, only 2 Daytona 500." Like, don't say this only. Like the Daytona 500 is not an easy race to win.
No, I mean, how many drivers
to win it twice is awesome. Like, but and everybody's like, "Oh, he just gets it for the name." Nah, I mean, he was a great racer just as well. I mean, obviously not as good as his dad, but that's 2 different types of racing. I get to get to race with his dad, but in the later end of his career, that's 2 different types of racing right there.
Well, and like you said, that's the whole point. Like, I mean, yeah, was he his dad? No, not even close. But at the same time, I mean, and I understand that there's a whole section of this fan base that believes that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was supposed to be his father. And if you watched him in the Busch series, 0% chance that was ever going to happen.
No.
And I've always said, I give Dale probably more credit and probably more slack than a lot of fans. Do I think he was overrated? No, I don't. Do I think that he was a great driver? I do. Hall of Fame caliber, of course. The 2 Daytona 500s within itself gets probably him in. But yeah, there was times that you felt like he should have been a lot better than what he was. But not everything was his fault. We always have to remember this. Not everything was his fault. And I know people always give him an excuse, but year 2, his father dies. First race of the season, his father's dead. Like, he's got to overcome that, right? So he did. He wins 3 races in 2001, excuse me. And then 2002, still trying to figure himself out. Same with 03. 03, he finishes 3rd in the points. And then 04, he breaks out. He has all these wins. Well, Teresa gets pissed. What does she do? Oh, I'm gonna screw him, and I'm gonna change Tony Eury Jr., who is his cousin, by the way, from his crew chief to I'm gonna put him with Michael Waltrip. And then all of a sudden, his career at DEI basically dies, right? Yep. And then he goes to Hendrick, and let's call it as is. I mean, yes, I mean he goes to Hendrick with Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon winning championships still. Who are you going to allocate all your resources to? So, but it is good for me to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. get into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, which is down in Daytona. So that was update number 6. Headliner number 7, 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Joey Logano is going to be inducted into the Talladega Hall of Fame or Walk of Fame, at Davey Allison Memorial Park. Another super speedway driver, kind of deserves it. Can't say Logano, but I love to hate him. He's good for
exactly.
And final update sponsorship of the week, all again courtesy of jski.com. Follow them on X, Facebook, or by web at www.jski.com. Final update, Cracker Barrel will be named the entitlement sponsor for the Cup race at Nashville on June 1st. So that was Ally for 21, I want to say 4 years now. So Cracker Barrel is going to be taking over. I guess their contract was up. So it's interesting, Cracker Barrel back in the sport, but cool. Those are all the updates this week. I think we got through them all. Hopefully everyone on the line was pretty happy about that. Let's take the green, white, checker flag out on that segment tonight, and let's jump into our Bristol race weekend discussion. Again, Kyle Larson, Chandler Smith. No. Kyle Larson.
One position away from Kyle Larson.
So I asked this question because he, as everyone's aware on this, basically listening to this show, he has done the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup now. This is his second weekend.
Yep.
And he has gone 2 for 3. Kyle Busch is the last driver to go for the full sweep. If we get Kyle Larson one more time, will he accomplish the sweep? I mean, he's getting close. I mean, he is getting close.
He's got it. Like, I mean, he's the only guy right now that I can really think that can do it. And it's not even being – I'm a fan of him. Like, I love the guy. I love watching him every weekend. Like, do I get mad at him? Yeah. I texted you last week. I'm done with this race. I can't watch it. This is horrible. But he's the only guy that comes to mind that can do
it. So to me, he should have done it. He should have had it in Homestead.
Yes.
The weekend sweep. He should have had it in Homestead.
That restart screwed him.
The restart screwed him. Sam Mayer ended up basically screwing him up. This past weekend, I thought Chandler Smith was a little bit better of a truck.
Yeah.
He was a better truck, but, Spire is probably the leader of the truck series, them in front row. So it was a good showing, in my mind, on equipment in the truck series between the two of them. And for Chandler Smith to win that was impressive, right? You're running against Kyle Larson at this point, who has nothing to lose. And all he has to do is just win that race. Saturday was a complete massacre.
It was a complete domination.
We don't need it. I mean, it's the only thing I can say about the difference between the Cup and the Xfinity, right? Like, the Cup was the same way. I mean, just complete total massacre from the 5. The difference between the Cup and the Xfinity is tire wear, right? Like, you had different tire wear because of the track temperatures. But yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for him to get that lucrative weekend sweep. Please, just do it for us, please.
Yeah, I would love it.
So jumping into again, Chandler Smith ended up winning Friday night's race over Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson won Saturday's race in the Xfinity Series, and then again, Kyle Larson won the Food City 500. Before we get into any of our main topics and main course topics tonight, let's just run over the final stat line from the Food City 500, again, courtesy of NASCAR.com. Your winner this week, again, as we mentioned, was Kyle Larson. Second was Denny Hamlin. Third was Ty Gibbs. Fourth was Chase Briscoe. Fifth was Ryan Blaney. Sixth was William Byron. Seventh was Ross Chastain. Eighth was Christopher Bell. Ninth was AJ Allmendinger. And 10th was Austin Dillon. Really good showing by Austin Dillon, by the way.
Yeah.
Your stage 1 top 10. Larson ended up winning stage 1, followed up by Denny Hamlin. Justin Haley was 3rd. Alex Bowman was 4th. Carson Hocevar was 5th. Christopher Bell was 6th. Ryan Blaney was 7th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was 8th. And Ty Gibbs was 9th. And AJ Allmendinger was 10th. Stage 2, your top 10 was Kyle Larson ended up winning stage 2, so he swept both stages and the win. Bowman was 2nd. Christopher Bell was 3rd. Carson Hocevar was 4th. Denny Hamlin was 5th. Justin Haley was 6th. Ty Gibbs was 7th. Ryan Blaney was 8th. Chase Briscoe was 9th. And Tyler Reddick was 10th. Your laps led in this race. Well, let's talk about number 5. Ended up leading 411.
411, yeah.
We only had, 89? Yeah, 89 laps remaining. So who led the rest of the 89 laps? Well, Ryan Blaney led one time in this race, 48 laps. He was on a very, very odd pit strategy. He was just trying to outduel the 5 and the 11.
Yep.
He was just doing the complete opposite. Him, Reddick, and I believe it was Bubba. Those 3 were on a complete different strategy. Carson Hocevar led one time in this race for 2 laps, which was good to see the young driver of the 77 up there. And the other driver to lead in this race was Alex Bowman. For one time, he led the first 39 laps until Kyle Larson took over. So those are your final stat lines coming out of the Food City 500. Like I said, speaking of Kyle Larson, let's talk with the driver about the driver of the number 5, right? tremendous, as we talked about, tremendous weekend all around from him. Uh, the question, as we just mentioned, will he ever get that sweep? Will he ever get the sweep? I'm hoping he does because one of the most talented drivers on the earth. And yes, if you're an F1 fan, I will mock you. Larson is way more talented than Max Verstappen. Knock it the hell off.
Yeah.
The dude does dirt, open wheel, and everything. Verstappen just runs around and sneaks playing follow the leader over in Europe. We don't talk about that racing. But Jake, I'm going to pass it off to you. A couple things coming out of this weekend. We're starting to see, like we have, a repeat of the last couple of years. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. Go for it.
I mean, so I want to touch base on this 3 in a row. I mean, the guy led 687 laps this weekend. If that doesn't tell you in a nutshell that this guy is good on these tracks, I mean, I personally think if it's going to be the race he's going to do, it's going to be Bristol. That's what I think. But going into the Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson thing, I also have a love-hate relationship for Denny Hamlin. I respect the guy as a phenomenal race car driver. He's shown it over the years. He still has it. He's still got a fast car. And at this point, I just feel, I mean, and people, you can see stuff on the internet that people think that they hate each other. They don't hate each other. They're buddies outside of their racing. You can hear Denny Hamlin on his post-race. He was rooting for Larson to win the Truck Series. He thought it was awesome. He just had a better car than him on Sunday, and I think this is a friendly rivalry that I think is awesome for the sport because people hate Denny, and there's a lot of Larson's fans out there, but there's a lot of people who don't like him. So I think you got that young kid and that old guy who's not old, but for the guys who are still racing, I think I love the rivalry. I love it because I'm a huge Larson fan. I like the guy to get pushed. And Denny Hamlin's not going to cut the guy slack. And you know how when they're side by side, they're beating and banging, and they're not going to let each other pass. I think it's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing it for the rest of the year and however more years that Denny is in for the race. I think it's great. You don't see those rivalries like you did way back in the day when guys are beating doors and you know what I mean? Like, I just think, like, yeah, you have rivalries now, but I think this is one that people see more periodically, and I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, same. I mean, rivalries, and when NASCAR has always been at its best, right? What have we always saw? Sensational rivalries. We had the Joe Gibbs Racing drivers against Team Penske, right? Keselowski, Logano, Kenseth, all these guys fighting one another. I feel like there's a lot more class with this rivalry between Larson and Hamlin than those JGR and Penske rivalries. But I think, like you said, I think the one thing that people I think we take for granted is how great, and I said this last week, how great Denny Hamlin has become later in his career. Hamlin's 44, going to be 45 this year. At that age, you start seeing drivers fall off a cliff. I mean, he really is this modern day Mark Martin. But what he has done is that he has legitimately pushed Kyle Larson into a new stratosphere. I mean, the two of them just feed off of one another. And this week was no exception, right? Like, Hamlin was following basically Larson. Now, granted, Hamlin could not get to Larson. Once the weight came into play, it was pretty much done. I mean, Larson pretty much secured it. But how many times have we seen this? How many times have we seen these two over the last couple of years, right? Dover last year, 2024.
Yep.
First thing that comes to my mind, Larson trying to run Hamlin down. 2023 at Pocono. Larson was going for the win. Guess who bumped him into the wall? Denny Hamlin, right? And led to Kyle Larson basically saying to him at the post-race interview, Denny does nothing wrong. That's essentially what he said at the end of that race. So, yeah, I mean, we as fans are starting to see this rivalry between the 5 and the 11, and it's blossomed. And I feel like a lot of fans, because of the age difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Larson's only 32, where Hamlin's going to be 45 this year. There's like a 12-year age gap between the two. But honestly, this rivalry reminds me of anything, I got to say this: it's got to be similar to what Tim Richmond and Dale Earnhardt were in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying Hamlin is Dale Earnhardt. I don't need that clip to go viral. No, if you want to take me viral, I don't care. We're all for it, right? But I mean, when Rick Hendrick hired Kyle Larson, the first words out of his mouth was, "This is the modern day Tim Richmond. This is Tim Richmond's clone." And he drives like Tim Richmond. He's aggressive, but he's finesse, right? And where I think Tim was a little bit more aggressive than Kyle is. Kyle is more finesse. But the two of them are a very similar skill set in drivers. If you watch 80s NASCAR, I mean, you watch the you watch the 25 Tim Richmond, you're essentially watching like basically what Kyle Larson does. Like I said, Hamlin is not Dale Earnhardt, but the thing is that it's it's another rival on the track, and those two are always competing with one another. And as you said, last couple of weeks, we have seen the 5 and the 11 just continuously. And over the last 3 years, just continuously go after one another each and every single week. And it's like you said, Jake, it is really good for the sport to have these two constantly go back and forth. It really is, because you're just watching it unfold. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this rivalry continues to grow into, and seeing what hopefully maybe at one of the tracks that we go to, or any fan, maybe you can watch, Hamlin and Larson. And I forgot to mention, the one Hamlin Larson memory that I loved the most was Kansas 2023, where backstretch, Larson gets into the wall, bumped by Denny Hamlin, and Hamlin ends up winning the race. So these two are very familiar with running into one another. So gear up for it.
Oh yeah. I personally think that they try to make. I feel like this type of rivalry, and I could be wrong, but how I portray it is, I think this rivalry, they make each other better. You watch Kyle Larson, when he gets put in the wall or spun out, or someone like a Bubba Wallace wrecks him and says it wasn't intentionally, but it is. Larson, the next week, he's not just going to be like, oh, I'm going to go take this guy out. He doesn't do that. He doesn't want conflict.
No.
So he's just, and then when him and Hamlin battle, like, they're not trying to take each other out. I mean, do I think Hamlin gets a little touchy? Yeah, but welcome to the sport.
Well, I've always said this too, Jake. I mean, that's the biggest difference between, and this is what, and sorry to our F1 fans, and I know that you guys hate when I talk about it, trash you guys over there, but the one thing I have against Formula One, and the one thing I love about NASCAR is thunder, and it's beating and banging. NASCAR is a very physical sport. It is, and I understand that people go, well, they're just the race car drivers. So no, listen, watch any highlight reel, and they like the beat and the banging, the amount of punishment these guys take each and every single week. You don't see this shit in Formula One.
No.
And like you said, I mean, to see how finesse these two can be in this rivalry, yeah, they'll bump and they'll touch, but they're not throwing each other into the wall, like Austin Dillon last year. But I wanted to touch base with you, Jake, and you could talk more on this because you listen to the podcast. Now, the one thing, like I said, this whole weekend's pretty much the segment's all about Kyle Larson. You listen to the Happy Harvick podcast, and Kyle Larson had a very interesting quote. Go for it.
Yeah, so and I was surprised, but I was happy with him saying it. It was Harvick's asked him, how do you feel basically dominating the Xfinity Series? And he goes, I basically, Kyle Larson's words were, and don't quote me on this, he's like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn and make myself sound better than and be this phenomenal guy, but I love doing it to show these guys in Xfinity Series, this is what you are going to deal with in Cup Series. And if I'm beating you and lapping more than half the field and I'm beating you by 10 seconds, Cup Series is not the thing for you then. You're not ready. And he goes, I basically think he's saying it that I want to try to make these guys better.
Yeah.
Catch me if you can type of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't think it was him trying to be like, oh, I'm the best NASCAR driver, because he's not. But I just love how he's like, I enjoy doing it, not to be a dick, but to prove a point.
Yeah.
The Xfinity race to him is fun. It's practice to him. He ain't getting points. I just Well, and obviously I watched it because he was on it, but I watch Harvick's podcast every week. I watch Earnhardt's podcast every week. I listen to it, but when I heard him say that, I'm like, he's right. He's right.
Well, and that's like the one thing, right? Like, I mean, we talk about this, and it's like we see all these young kids in the Xfinity series and young prospects, and I'm going to use this one as an example because I was texting someone about him earlier today. And William Sawalich, right? William Sawalich to me has no business being in the Xfinity series. A bunch of people have told me they're like, the kid is not good. He had Joe Gibbs Racing in the ARCA series, nothing special. I'm like, his age, come on, he's younger. He sucks. I mean, he's young. He's got plenty of room to grow and all that type of stuff. But he's not like it's not good. And I like when the old quote used to be the bushwhackers used to come down there. Like Harvick used to run full time. Clint Boyer used to run full time. Jeff Burton used to run full. All these guys used to run full time. And I love when Larson comes down to the Xfinity series. You know, Kyle Larson, whenever he's on a track, is like a legit threat to win a race. And if you want to race on Saturdays, like the biggest complainer this offseason was Sam Mayer, who's like, I'm not in the market or I'm not being talked about going into the Cup Series. Well, you're not beating Kyle Larson. You're not. And I get it. It's an outlier. Larson is the best of the sport and what the sport's got to offer. But the point is that if you're not even close to this guy, what makes you think that you're going to go to the next level in a car that even the best of the best of the best are struggling with and think you're going to have a shot to win the race?
Yep.
I mean, he's going into this transitional point now. He's got 31 career wins in the Cup Series. 31. He's 30. He is only 32 years old. Right now, I got the list up. He is currently behind. He's 30th on the all-time wins list right now. Yeah. All-time wins list, he is 30th. He is currently one win behind Dale Jarrett. He's probably going to pass Dale Jarrett. Or he's probably... So he's got 31 wins. He's 30th. In 29th is Dale Jarrett at 32. Fireball Roberts has got 33 wins. He's in 28th. Truex has 34 career wins. Kurt Busch got 34 career wins. And Logano and Keselowski have 36 each. By the end of the season, he's got 31. Yeah, he could easily win probably 5 to 6 more races this year.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, Kyle Larson, at the end of his age 33 season, might be sitting in 23rd.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back, I guess, to this point where it's like, yes, and not to continue gushing on the guy, but this guy is now turned into, and I posted this on Facebook on a seriously Fast Motorsports question. Kurt, a shout out to those guys. They asked, they're like, Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Gordon checking out turned this into a powerhouse. And my comment was, well, Kyle Larson's just transcending, maybe probably going into one of the sport's greatest elite drivers of all time. At 32 years old, since he's joined Hendrick Motorsports, he had 6 career wins going into it. So he's got 25 career wins in 5 years?
Yeah.
He's averaging 5 wins a season. If he does this for another 10 years, that's 50 wins. 50 plus 31 is 81. He's in the top 5 of all time.
Yeah. I mean, and like, I talk a lot of smack, like, my family's big into NASCAR, and I talk a lot of smack, and people have always been like, oh, like, how do you like Kyle Larson? Like, you like him because Junior left, and you were like, oh, let me pick the guy who wins. Like, dude, I watched Kyle Larson when he had a freaking yellow stripe on the back of his car when he was in a freaking 42 Target car. I love that guy. I liked him then. I watched him dirt racing. I've always been into dirt racing. But, I mean, to go off your point, it's just like, you talk about the GOAT status and one of the greatest of all time. I don't think he'll ever be the GOAT, but I think he could be one of the greatest of all time. What kills me the most is the guy ain't good on long tracks. He's not good on 2.5 mile tracks. And if I feel like he can get over that hump, I don't know how you can't put him in the conversation. I mean, you can put him in the conversation now.
Yeah.
But he's got to show me a win or two a year on 2. I want, you know what I want? I want Daytona 500.
Oh. I mean, if he gets one,
that's a lot to ask. I get that, but he can do it. he can't. I think his biggest downfall is I don't think he's the best at drafting, and
No.
that's going to hurt him to be in that conversation. I mean, like you said, you could put him in it now, and he hits that 81 wins, like we're saying, off of his average. I mean, you cannot tell him he's not, but give me some long track wins. Love the guy. I want to see you win some long track races.
That's a fair point. I mean, right? Like he doesn't have a restrictor plate win yet. And I get it. Atlanta is now a restrictor plate race, and there's a difference between Daytona Talladega and Atlanta, right? Like, like he wins at Atlanta. Well, he's. I would have. It was more impressive when he was beating the shit out of the field back in 2021 when it wasn't a restrictor plate.
Oh yeah.
The point is that.
Yeah.
So, like, going back to what I was saying, like, the average, like, he's been at Hendrick now for this is going to be his 5th full-time season, right? So, he's got 25 career wins at Hendrick. He's averaging 5 a year. Again, you do that over a course of 10, you go off that trend and that stat, it's 50 wins. That would put him at 81 career wins by the age of 43. And who knows, he may even go past 43. If he were to get 81 wins by his age 43 season, he will be sitting 7th, or he'll just be sitting right behind Cale Yarborough and Jimmy Johnson. I mean, he's ahead of Dale Earnhardt Sr. I mean, that is a massive elite company. Yeah. That is, and it's crazy because I'm looking at the top 5 or the top 6 drivers of all time wins list, or top 7, excuse me, because there's a tie between Johnson and Yarborough. 2 of those guys came from Hendrick Motorsports. Jeff Gordon sits 3rd on that list at 93 wins. Jimmy Johnson sits at 6 and 83.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, Kyle Larson's got a little ways to go before we get to 93, but you know, it's almost like I feel. You know what's crazy to me, obviously timing's everything with this. Timing is complete everything, but I just feel like we got robbed as fans. Like, if he were to start his career at Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh. Dude, you can add to be nice. You can add another 10 to 15 wins.
Yeah, and that's to say it nicely, right? Like, I mean, and again, timing on everything happens perfectly. I mean, unfortunately, maybe he wasn't mature enough to go to Hendrick Motorsports. Yeah. Maybe who knows, but. If he started his career at Hendrick Motorsports, I mean, we're probably sitting at a guy who's almost at 50 wins already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
With another 10, 12 years left that he raced for.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not longer.
I don't think anyone's going to get to Rich or Petty. I really don't. That's That's nearly impossible at this point.
Not the way that not the way the cars are nowadays. No. Not the way that not with all the competition ever. No. And you know what? As a fan, I don't ever want someone to catch him.
Yeah.
I love him up there.
No, I agree. I mean, 200 wins is very tough. But, I mean, second place is David Pearson at 105. I mean, I'm not saying Larson's going to get to 105. I mean, I do think that by it's all said and done, if he stays on this trajectory and this projection and talking to the GOAT status to Kyle Larson, I mean, we have completely seen this guy dominate in the 5-car. Him and Cliff Daniels is one of the best. It's literally Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus now. It's literally the new Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus. If they stay on this projection, and let's just say Larson ends his racing career at 45, 47 years old, yeah, Kyle Larson might be sitting 4th of all-time wins behind Jeff Gordon. He might be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think you see that duo break. I don't see how Hendrick could ever be like, oh, we can't like this. You can't like. It's like you just said.
Not with HendrickCars.com being on that car. Nah, Rick Hendrick wants his brand in winners victory lane every opportunity he gets. So, jumping off the Larson point, Jake, before we do, according to NASCAR.com, his driver stats through the 9 races, his average finish is 12.3. He's got 5 top 5, 6 top 10s, 2 wins in the 9 races, and he has 503 laps led already. So, granted, 411 of them came at Bristol.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like the 5 is legitimately it's clicking on. And the one thing about Kyle Larson, before we close out with that discussion, before we get into basically the lanes of the race on Sunday, I've always said this: Kyle Larson is legitimately. I think what makes me so excited about him watching him race, it's literally records or checkers with him. Like he literally is not afraid to win a race. Where his teammate in the 9 is completely the opposite. Mr. Consistency and top tens, which that's fine, but at the same time, it's like Kyle's like, wrecked the car at Coda. I spun going out of turns 2 in Darlington. I'm going to follow up with a win next week. Who cares? It happens. Where Chase is like, I don't want to wreck Rick's car. And he finishes top 10 left and right. So, Larson, he's only, God, I'm looking at his stats too. If you take out the 32nd place at Coda and the 37th place at Darlington, he does not have a finish below 20th at that point.
Yeah, and and Darlington, I had high hopes for him there, and honestly, you take them away, and he finishes in just say the top 15. Like he's sitting in first place with a comfortable lead.
Yeah,
which means nothing, but I mean it's just. I mean the guy's gonna. I mean people can say all they want. The guy's gonna win another two or three races this year. I mean I could be a little over the top, but I mean, and people who don't like him be like, "Oh, it's not gonna happen." I'm telling you, the guy's going to win another 2-3 races. His name's Kyle Larson, and he races the 5 car for HendrickMotorsports.com. Don't want to toot my own horn, but
all right, not to get ahead of this real quick, but and not to brag about this, but if Talladega is the next race,
yep,
after the Easter break, all right, let's scratch him out. He's not winning that.
No. I'll be happy with the top 20.
The next 5 races are a legit possibility for a win. He's got Texas, Kansas, Coke 600, Nashville, Michigan. He's won at Michigan in his career. He's won at Nashville. He's won at the Coke 600. He's won at Kansas. Well, he's really good at Kansas. And what's called assist. He should have won the race last year at Texas if the wheel doesn't fall off.
If the wheel doesn't fall off.
The wheel doesn't fall off, and it's a good win for Chase Elliott. But if the wheel doesn't fall off, Kyle Larson runs away with that win.
Yep.
So.
Looking forward to that Coke 600 race is a circle in my thing. I'm looking forward to that 1,100 miles.
I completely. Oh yeah, and that's right. I always forget about that part.
Yeah.
He's racing the 1,100. He's going. I hope he gets it this year.
I want it, man. I want it.
So coming into Bristol, a lot of discussion, Shake. Last year, the Food City 500, we had the tires. That was a big discussion, right? The grip wear, the tires, the high line, the low line. Last spring race was absolutely remarkable because of the wear and tear of the tires. Saturday, we saw that a little bit with Kyle Larson in the Xfinity Series. Unfortunately, though, on Sunday, the tire wear wasn't there, but the lines of the race were a little bit different than what I think we all thought. Let's speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, every time you watch Bristol in the beginning, you're going to see everybody on the low line. And I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it ain't a lot of laps until you see everybody up on top. And just because I'm watching, I'm like, man, like, why aren't we seeing all this black rubber up top? And then boom, 3/4 of the way at the end of the race, you start seeing guys run on the high line. I grew up watching Bristol, man. Everybody was up top. And from what I can remember, but seeing him down, I mean, it worked on. But another thing that, like, take a guy like Ty Gibbs, who started up in the front. Yep. That guy got out of line, and he couldn't even run a car length above the guy that went right back, and finally came in. I was like, wow. Like I thought it was a great race, but just from my history of what I remember watching Bristol at, I don't ever really recall it running the low side for that long.
Yeah, no, I agree. I felt like that the cars, I don't know. And I know that a lot of the grip and the wear, a lot of the tires started shredding a little bit, started putting a lot of the top lane in like some dirty like track. But at the same time, it just felt like they were trying to run low and they were trying to avoid the inevitable of going up. Now, there was a few drivers that did, and when they did, though, they got punished.
Yep.
I mean, you saw Hamlin and Bell almost nearly 2 laps apart almost go to the high line and literally almost spin out.
Mm-hmm.
I did not feel like there was a lot of moving around the track in this race whatsoever.
No.
I felt like once you saw – it was – and I hate to say this because I just read Formula One for this, but I felt like it was kind of followed the leader on Sunday. And I'm not saying that because
It was.
Larson led 411, but I feel like drivers were too afraid to see what the grip level was at the top of the track until the person in front of them tried it, right? I mean, I looked at like a guy like Chase Elliott, right? He was 15th through 18th throughout the whole race. He started going the high line, and then it wasn't working. It went down low, and then all of a sudden someone went high. He tried to go high again, and then it didn't work. It went back low. And like you said, with in regards to Bristol, the beauty of Bristol is that the track is completely wide open. It's completely wide open. It's not like Martinsville where you're basically running the lowest lane possible. Maybe you're getting into that second lane groove. Bristol is I'm using all the tracks because the banking is going to sit there and launch me all over God's creation. That's what makes the track so beautiful. And to me, I love both races being on concrete because I want to see my drivers allocate both resources on the lanes. But when you get a race like that on Sunday, it's very difficult to justify going back there and on without going on dirt again.
Dude, you took the words out of my mouth, man. I was on Facebook today, and all I see is people saying, well, this is going to how Bristol's going to be, bring dirt back.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think people were more so annoyed at the fact that you ask a hardcore NASCAR fan, was a boring race. I get it. If you want a number 5 fan, it was a boring race. I'm not going to knock you for that. But people are like, if this is how Bristol's going to be, bring the dirt back. Bring it back.
And that all stemmed because Chase Briscoe and Jeff Gluck,
yes.
Yahoo, I believe he's with, ended up asking, was Bristol a good race? And Chase Briscoe immediately went on Twitter and said, bring it back to dirt. Now, no, please do not bring it back to dirt. If you're going to run a dirt race, go on a natural
I don't like it.
Please run a natural dirt race. Do not run on Bristol.
No.
But let's call it as is. And this is going to kind of transition to another topic off of the mechanical side of things, right? More into the lines of, for a lot of our old school fans, if you're listening to us live or whenever you listen to this episode, I want you to think about this. All you guys do is complain about how NASCAR has not talked about real racing. It's not real racing. They re-rack the field, yada, yada, yada. You make every excuse on how you hate the sport, but you still watch it. Sunday gave us a race that it was probably the most natural race we have seen in probably a while, right? It was a natural race. I mean, the best car went out there, won the race, dominated the race, reminiscent of the early 90s, late 2000s NASCAR that everyone brags and cheers about.
Yeah.
Why is it when that happens, why do we always get complaints and saying that we need to change the rules? Why do we need to change the rules when sometimes it's good to see domination in a sport? Now, I get it. The last 3 weeks, we have seen one single driver essentially dominate the race, right? We saw Hamlin at Martinsville, led over 200-plus laps. Last week at Darlington, we saw William Byron, led 200-plus laps. Okay, I get it, but and then this week we saw Larson. So we've seen drivers, but Hamlin and Larson ended up winning the race by leading the most laps. William Byron didn't. So we had an exciting finish at the end. And honestly, we would have had an exciting finish whether the caution came out in Darlington or not, because Ryan Blaney caught Tyler Reddick and got around him.
Yeah.
So I am just tired of, and like you said, I've seen it on Facebook, Instagram, everything. I'm tired of the fans complaining. It's like, well, you want it one way. You want late 90s, early 2000s NASCAR. Well, the last 3 weeks gave you late 90s, early 2000s NASCAR, and you guys are all complaining.
Yep, and then it happens, and it's like, no one's ever going to be satisfied.
No, they're not.
And it's like, and then people are like, oh, that's why people always say, oh, I'm watching NASCAR, left turn. Like, you acting like this gives them that mentality, like, okay, it's not fun to watch then.
No, and
it gets me fired up, man. It gets me fired
up. It does. Same. I mean, I will say, like, okay, Bristol not running all the multiple grooves in that track, like, yeah, that kind of stunk, in my opinion. But at the same time, like, it's going to happen. If you want natural, real racing back, as quote unquote these fans want all the time, you got that.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks, you completely got it, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough again.
And it ain't ever gonna be.
No, it's not. It's not. So, All right, a couple drivers I want to talk about before we end tonight's show, Jake. First up, Alex Bowman.
Heartbreaker.
Damn, heartbreaker. Yeah, 100. Best word to say. Won the pole. That was the second pole of the season. He won at Homestead, won at Bristol. Led the first 38 laps, I believe I said it was, to start the race off. Larson passes him, but listen, Bowman has speed this year, guys.
Yes.
Bowman has speed. He's going to win a couple of these races.
Oh yeah. He's got a win coming to him soon.
Another blown engine. We saw how many blown engines this year so far? We've seen Blaney blow up a couple of times. We've seen Bowman blow up now. Blown engines are a massive issue that a couple of years ago I was like, man, I have not heard a driver have blown engine. The last half, blown engine. But absolutely heartbreaker. If you're a Bowman fan, hang in there, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think honestly, this is the best I've seen him race this year. I mean, we're just starting out the season. I just think he's, like you just said, stay in there. He will win a race this year, and no, it's not going to be on Chicago Street. He will win a race this year. I'm telling you.
Now it is tough, and I understand what some of these fans are thinking about with Bowman. So Bowman started off really nice in the beginning of the season, right? 6th at Daytona, 26th at Atlanta, whatever. 9th at Coda, 7th at Phoenix, 7th at Vegas, 2nd at Homestead. So that's a really hot start.
Yeah.
Last 3 weeks, 27th at Martinsville, 35th at Darlington, 37th at Bristol. The last 3 races, he's got an average finish of 33rd. Listen, relax. Bowman's going to be fine. They have a ton of speed in that car. Martinsville, they had issues on pit road. This past weekend, they blew an engine. Darlington, same thing. They had issues on pit road. If they take all those, things that it's all the stuff that he can't control, right? That's not his fault. So, but what it comes to show with me is that the 48 does have a ton of speed. So the 5, the 24, and the 48 have shown me, these guys are going to win multiple races this year. They're that good. Second driver, I left one driver in the Hendrick stable out of that discussion, Jake, and that was Chase Elliott. I
can't. And the thing is because I also grew up with a guy who loved his dad, and to see a guy who has so much talent, a young guy who has so much talent, just loves to hang out in the middle of the pack. 5 laps to go. Oh, look, Chase Elliott's in the top 10. 10th. Like, he's got the talent. He's got the car. He's got the team. Where the hell you been, man? Like, where have you been the past 400 laps? Like, or however many there are in a race. Like, where have you been? Now, I haven't followed him much this year. I don't know if it's pit road issues. Like, I usually follow Hendrick really well. I really haven't followed Chase Elliott. I just realized that the guy's shown it on his track record. He's a phenomenal race car driver. But this year, it's like I haven't heard one person talk about Chase Elliott. Besides that, he somewhere sneaks his way up into a top 10 finish.
Well, he's been so unenthusiastically, he's literally no excitement, right? No excitement whatsoever. Okay, so a lot of yes, and I've seen it. He's so consistent with the top 20 finishes, yada yada yada. I get it, but you're Chase fucking Elliott. I'm sorry to use that language, and I'm sorry for any of the fans.
No, you're right.
But you're Chase Elliott. You're not Ty Dillon, who just got lucky into this ride. And nothing against Ty Dillon. He's actually having a good year. But you're Chase Elliott. And it's like we're counting top 20s now. So Chase Elliott, again, like I just said, has not had a finish below 20th all season. Great. Kudos. Great job. Good job. You're in Hendrick Motorsports. You're Chase Elliott. You should be finishing in the top 20. Now, I look at it like the 2 restrictor plate races are outliers. We already know what happens. And to be honest with you, for him to come back out in Atlanta when he almost got completely taken out, that was impressive within itself. Coda, he finished 4th. He had the speed. Chastain took him out, unfortunately. But then Phoenix and Vegas, he finishes top 10 back-to-back weeks. The most unimpressive top 10s I've ever seen in my entire life. Then he finishes 18th at Homestead, which is a nightmare of a track for him. Martinsville, he finishes 4th. That should have been a win. I'm sorry. That should have been a win. and I said this. This is my problem with Chase Elliott, and I love the driver. I really do. I love him. But the problem I have with Chase Elliott is that he does not know. And I thought later on, after he won that championship, and later on in his career, I thought he would be able to turn a top 10 car into a top 5 car or a winning race car. Right? Kevin Harvick was so good at doing that for years. Kyle Larson, a lot of these drivers are so good. The ones that continue winning are so good at doing that. Denny Hamlin's the same way. Martinsville, him and his crew go, well, let's do the same repetitive nonsense that we do every single time, even though 2 tires works. 2 tires works in this situation. Oh, wait a second. We don't have to pit. There's only 87 laps left in the stage. Go out and go win the stage. No, what did they do? Calm down, fresh set of tires, and it's wash, rinse, repeat with the 9. And he can't take this is where I'm starting to believe that he's going to be 30 this year in November. I'm starting to believe that Chase Elliott is limited as a driver. He is unable to take a top 5, the top 10, the top 5 car and put that car in the victory lane. He needs everything to go right, and even when it does go right, it's still like pulling teeth when he wins.
Yep.
I mean, yes, is Chase Elliott going to win a couple races this year? Sure. We are only 9 weeks in. We're only 9 weeks in. Hendrick Motorsports has completely showed us that they have a ton of speed. My biggest fear, though, about Chase Elliott, his other teammates have won races or have won poles and have completely outside mechanical issues, have been top 5 cars.
I thought to say that to you because you look at it this year, you look at it last year, Chase Elliott's what Alex Bowman was last year and years prior to that. And it's kind of like people, I don't want to get to the point that people forget about, who's Chase Elliott? No. It's I mean, there's a plethora of things that are going on, and maybe it's something else that we just don't know. But it's like you said, you will see him in victory lane this year, but he ain't gonna make it in the playoffs if we don't make victory lane because of the way he's finishing.
No,
you know what I mean?
And I honestly, and here's my biggest problem too. Like the end of last year in the playoffs, I was like, wow, that 9 car finally saw speed. They finally saw something. Like they went down to Martinsville, champions back against the wall, all that stuff. He still lost the race, but he finished second. Put up a fight. I mean, he did fight for that second place. I mean, he tried to win the race.
Yeah.
The problem with Chase Elliott, though, is that the beginning of this year, he wins the Cookout Clash. So it's like, oh, whoa. The 9's actually going to do something early in the season. Nah. Back to the same old nonsense as it's been the last couple years. Next driver up that I want to talk about, Kyle Busch. I know we've been talking about him a lot over the last couple of years, and 2023 was a feel-good story. I call it the redemption tour with Kyle Busch. Won 3 races, made the playoffs, only made the round of 12. But the last couple of years, Jesus Christ, man, it's not been good. This year specifically, he has started off better than last year.
Yes.
But some of these tracks where I'm like, okay, like this past weekend at Bristol, good. Kyle Busch racetrack, right? We're going to see the 8 in the top of the pack. Wrong. Finished 14th at Bristol. Now, he's currently 15th in the points. And yes, with Barry's win, he'll be in the points. He'll still be in the points at 16th. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to tell you this. First, he's not going to make the playoffs without a win this year. He's just not. I don't think he's going to at all. He's going to need to win, and I feel like at this point, his best chance to win is at a restrictor plate track. But number 2, Jake, where does Kyle Busch go from here?
I mean, like last year, they had all the pit road troubles, all the crap on pit road. Guy couldn't freaking change the tires. It was like, how many wheel-offs did that guy have?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy couldn't catch a break last year. I can't knock him for that. But another driver, I'll float in the middle of the pack for the whole freaking race and do nothing. And it's like, I just feel like there's no, and I don't know if motivation is starting to just be lost. When you look at the guy's all about racing with his kid now, which I think is awesome. He's getting into that. He's really into his kid racing, into racing that stuff. Like, are you just non-motivated anymore? Because this is not the Kyle Busch that I knew growing up watching. That was every week it could be Kyle Busch. And it's just like, Is the guy kind of is he done with NASCAR and he's just afraid to admit it? I don't know, but I don't like seeing, especially with the number 8 that he's racing, middle of the pack or worse, and a lot of the time it's worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here with him. I don't know what the team does with him. And his name's Kyle Busch. You're not just going to kick the guy to the curb.
No, you're not. And I've kind of made this comparison before, and it's starting to really come into. It's starting to actually come into the way I think it's going to, and starting to form into that. It's starting to become Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
It's starting to become Jimmy Johnson post 2017. They both had 3 wins. Kyle had 3 wins in 2023. Jimmy had 3 wins in 2017. They both went winless in 2024 with multiple opportunities to win races, but they didn't win. And then this year, and that's where I really starting to feel like we are at that, late post 2017 Jimmy Johnson career story arc with Kyle Busch. I mean, it's tough because it's like I look at the stats and I look at the data, I look at the finishes, and I look at his it's still trending to where he's a competitive driver.
Yes.
But the problem is when you have Kyle Busch being a competitive driver, no, he needs to be elite. But the scary part is, and I know that there's people that are going to disagree with this. The last year Kyle Busch was considered, in my opinion, looking at the stats and the driver rankings and all that, the last time he was considered elite was 2019.
Like he literally took the year right out of my mouth.
2019. And he won the championship that year with many wins, but then 2020 he had good finishes, but he ended up winning the race at Texas, finished 8th in the points. 2021 won 2 races, Kansas, Pocono, kind of looked like a championship contender, finished 9th in the points. 2022, let's call it as is. If Briscoe and Reddick don't crash each other at Bristol Dirt, Kyle Busch doesn't win that race. That was his only win of the year. He ends up finishing 13th in the points, and then he goes and then you're in 2023, and then he wins 3 races. I call it the redemption tour, but it's not. I mean, he has not been good this decade.
No.
He's been good, he's been good, but he hasn't been elite this decade. No. And someone brought this up to me a long time ago, and I'm like, yeah, come on, give him the benefit of the doubt. No, I'm looking at the stats.
Yeah, you can't.
He's not been good.
And you know what's weird, Matt? Look how he's qualifying though. He's not he's not qualifying bad.
No.
If you go back the last few races, and this is not just me because I love Kyle Larson, he's qualifying right where Larson's. I think there was 3 races in a row they qualified side by side. Yeah. The guy has the speed, he has the car, he can do it. But once all cars on the track, it's like, where Kyle Busch go? You start looking at the stands on the side, you see the 8 car, boom, boom, and you're like,
yeah. Well, and that's the problem. Like you brought up a good point, Jake. So this year in 2025, according to NASCAR.com, his average start position is 12.33. His average finish in a race is 16.55. So he's losing nearly 3.2 positions each race. From where that's a lot of positions. And listen, that's just data. That's all condensed data. I mean, if you look at it, there's some races that he could be starting 4th or 5th, and he's finishing 20th. I don't know what the answer is with Kyle Busch. I wish, I know there's a meme and a funny joke going around. Like if there was any time, like if I could build a time machine, I would just go back in time and be like, do not sign with RCR. Please do not sign with RCR. But at the same time, I can't blame RCR. I mean, Richard Childress kind of has done the right thing by adding different talents into the organization. It's when you're on track and you're losing positions. Now, granted, that could be an indication that the mechanics of the vehicle are falling backwards. That could be that. They're just good for top-end speed for a 10-lap average or qualifying. It's just it sucks, and I never thought we'd get to this point. And like I said, going throughout this decade, Kyle Busch has been good. He's been a playoff driver, but he's not been elite probably since 2019. That's the last time he was elite.
I mean, it's like you said. I mean, you can. Is it him? Is it like he says? Is it the mechanics? Is it the way they're building this car? Is it only a car that can? Oh wait, there's 2 laps to get in qualifying. Oh, that car's fast. And then
Yeah.
halfway through the race, the car's just mid. Like we're just gonna we ride with the guys who ride in the middle. And the minute that we try to go up front, like when we get a restart and we pit nice and we finish in the top 10, again, look at it. Kyle Busch, oh, look, Kyle Busch pitted. He's starting 8th. After 10 laps, the guy's down to 18th.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if it's a car. I mean, dude, and it could be the car, could be mechanical. I mean, obviously every car, every Chevrolet has the same. I mean, they all have the same thing in them, but yeah, I'm speechless about it, man. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I mean, wasn't a huge Kyle Busch fan, but I always respected of how good he was, and he was great. He still is great for the sport, but it's just weird. You saw him like this guy, and then like all of a sudden, like it's like you said, past years, it's like literally the guy went straight downhill. Like it wasn't even a little decline; it was boom. Like I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I can say that 8 car in victory lane again this year, and I won't be mad about it.
Yeah, it would be good. It would definitely be good. Yeah, I mean, like you said, though, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like you said, it could be something mechanical. It could be him. And the final point from Kyle Busch before we get into the last driver to discuss tonight, and I definitely want you to take that topic. The one thing with Kyle Busch, and I said this about Chase Elliott fans, or say this to Chase Elliott fans all the time. This next generational car has been around for 3 years. Year 1, I give every driver an excuse, right? At one point, I thought Legacy Motor Club, when they were petty GMS, would be a legit program because they were running top 5. Right? It's completely wrong about that. But the one thing that I will say about and every fan base wants to sit there and go, "Well, it's the car. The driver doesn't know the car. The driver doesn't know the car." Well, it's your damn job to understand how to drive the car. Elite drivers adapt. Yep. Elite drivers always find a way. They always adapt. Yeah, did Hamlin come out of the gates hot in 2022 with that next-gen car? No, he didn't. But he adapted. Same with Larson. They adapted. William Byron adapted. You know, Chase Elliott won 5 races the first year of the next-gen car. Now, was it luck that got him to those 5 wins? Or was it like legitimately, was he a good driver? He broke his leg and became something got screwed up there. Kyle Busch is the same way. He's he doesn't know how to drive the next gen car. Well, it's his job to drive the next gen car. This is the car. I hate to say it. I hate this car more than anybody. I do. I hate the wake. Listen. I'm old school. If I see it on the track, I want to be able to buy it in the dealership the next day. And to have one single lug nut on a vehicle is absolutely stupid. How many penalties have we seen? Look at the incident this past weekend. John Hunter Nemechek. His tire flew right off on pit road and almost actually injured somebody in Daniel Suarez's crew. I watched that video. That's insane. Yep. But the whole thing is, and like, I hate the aero wake. I hate the aerodynamics of this car. Like, like if you're making this car's best ability is to put an option tire on it for a better race, then you don't have a good product. But the point is that that's besides the point. The point is that NASCAR, to me, is they're not going to change the car because multiple drivers don't like it. This is the car probably for the next 7 years. I'm sorry, it is. Hopefully this is our generation's car of tomorrow. Hopefully that this is it, and hopefully they don't screw it up again. But all right, final driver tonight, Jake. Take it, Ryan Blaney. That's your boy.
So I know we had talked, and I have to give the guy props. Matt knows I'm not a huge Ryan Blaney fan. I'll give respect when respect is due. Obviously, as a mechanic, I mean, when you watch cars blow up, it's kind of cool because you're like, oh, well, now I want to know why that thing blew up. I want to know the details. The funny part is, it happened to be him, and me and Matt texted back and forth. I was jumping up and down like a kid, but I got to give props to him this week. I think he came out and showed that I can't argue. The guy has speed. The guy's a fast car. He's a phenomenal race car driver. He is like when I'm thinking of people that's like these are the top guys right now, and I hate to say it 'cause I'm not a fan of him. He's up there. You can't not put him in the conversation. And it's like we've been talking. He's gonna get that win this year. If you're a Ryan Blaney fan, like I apologize, you're a fan of him, but he's gonna get a win. I just it's a matter of time. I mean, but I just wanted to this week kind of the guy like besides Larson that I thought really had a really good race this week. I mean, Danny Hamlin, like we said earlier, just played follow the leader, but I think Ryan Blaney had he raced pretty well this week. I mean, I got to give it to him. I mean, he did a different strategy, and he still finished up there with the top guys. I mean, I'm going to give props when props are due, and hopefully this is the last time I got to do that, but I'll give it to him.
No, I agree. He's definitely going to capture a win. Probably should have had it last week if that caution doesn't come out.
Yes, for sure.
But that's your kudos driver of the week. I got 2 this week. I'm going to go first, Ross Chastain, who finished 7th in this race. Dude started 36th in this race.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of drivers back in the pack with him. Joey Logano was one of them. Did not get out of the 2 laps down. Ross climbed himself up to the 10th into the top 10, finished 7th in this race. Credit to where credit's due. Ross Chastain. I think good things are coming for Trackhouse Racing in the future. They are very strong on 1.5s. We got a lot of them coming up. They're good on super speedway, so excited to see what Ross and company can do on the tracks coming up. And then final driver I want to give credit to this week, Ty Gibbs, who just captured his 2nd straight top 10, his first top 5 of the season. But it's Ty Gibbs' first top 5 since Kansas last year in the playoffs. For a driver who has massively struggled to start this season off, he went 15 races without a top 15 finish. Finished 13th in Martinsville, broke that streak, finished 9th at Darlington, 3rd at Bristol. I feel like they're finally starting to find their groove a little bit. Hopefully the bye week, they start collecting more data, continue it going. But shout out to Ty Gibbs. I was a little tough on him in the past couple weeks. But Jake, with all that being said, let's read the final point stand.
I want to go off that Ty Gibbs real quick.
Go ahead.
I like that because look at how did he start that race? What do you start? 3rd?
Yeah.
And the guy went out to try a line and went back to 16th and fought his way back up. I mean, if I wasn't going to pick Ryan Blaney, I was going to pick him. So I'm happy that you said it. But yeah, the guy really went out there, but no one will let him in. If you listen to guys on the radio, don't let him in. Don't let him in. Wreck him. Don't let him in. Mm-hmm. Let him wreck. And he came back and had a good race. But I just wanted to make that comment there real quick. So I do like that.
No, you're good.
Ty Gibbs.
No, you're completely fine by that. Yeah, you're completely fine by that. Ty Gibbs finished. Ty Gibbs started this race in 6th.
Oh, it was 6. Okay.
Yeah, he started 6th in this race. So yeah, I mean, he had. Listen, for a young driver, who lost his veteran crew chief this past offseason, Chris Gale. I was completely wrong about that. We don't need to hash that tonight. But for a driver who lost his veteran crew chief, for a driver still finding himself in the Cup Series, again, 11, it was almost 15 straight races where he just was bad after bad after bad. Yeah. It seems like the tides are finally turning. Due to the tides turning, I mean, he's climbed 6 positions in the points. He's now sitting in 20th. So, but let's talk about the top. We'll talk top 16 in the Cup before we close out tonight's segment. Standings courtesy at NASCAR.com. Your points leader right now going into the bye week is William Byron. 2nd is Denny Hamlin. 3rd, Christopher Bell. 4th is Kyle Larson, who jumped 2 after the win. 5th, Mr. Consistency, Chase Elliott. 6th is Ryan Blaney, Jake's boy, as you heard. 7th, Tyler Reddick, who dropped 2. Bubba Wallace sits 8th. Joey Logano sits 9th, and Alex Bowman sits in 10th. 11th is Ross Chastain. 12th is Chris Buescher. 13th is Chase Briscoe. 14th is Ryan Preece, who, I'm not going to lie, for a short track driver, had a very disappointing race on Sunday. I was a little disappointed with the 60 car. 15th is Kyle Busch, and 16th is AJ Allmendinger, who had another top 10 this season.
Yes.
So pretty good start for AJ, by the way.
Yeah.
If you go off the playoff wins, Barry would jump into, who sits 17th. He would jump into the playoffs, and AJ Allmendinger would be knocked out, first driver out. So, all right, with all that being said, I think that takes us to the checker flag tonight.
Yeah.
Lots discussed. Jake.
Yeah.
Rockingham this weekend for the Xfinity and truck. So if you're going to
Yeah,
the race, that should be a good race. I mean, Casey Kane's back.
Yeah, and trust me, I'll have it
on. Yeah. So we're like I said, we'll post all episodes up. Good off week for us to get everything kind of organized and kind of shuffle for the future of this show over the next couple of weeks. Jake, it's been a blast tonight, man.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can do this again. I really enjoyed it. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Just laid back, just two guys talking shop.
Yep.
That's essentially all it is. With all that being said, enjoy your race weekend from Rockingham. If you're going to the race, have fun, be safe. Also enjoy your Easter weekend. We will chat next week. I want to say we'll figure it out. We'll post it on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. I'll post it. We'll probably be on next week for power rankings, and then get you ready for Talladega. So with all that being said, have a wonderful night. Be safe. Thanks for listening, and we will catch up with you next week. Good night.
Will you tell Mr. Dennett that Ricky Bobby is my best friend, and it's shaking big time.